but it might work with you guys.
Well, certainly
And
possible.
behind this is a great mess. So this is a real virtual board. It wobbles and everything.
Okay, just 2 more seconds. Just waiting for this to activate. Keep going. I think it is.
Thank you, Daniela.
Okay, all good on my end. Away you go. Leave it to you.
Okay. Well, look, delighted to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation, Daniel. My first conversation with Birmingham Enterprise Community. It's one of those things that I would have liked to have done a long time ago. But you know, we are where we are, and delighted to be here. My journey was absolutely formidable, all the way from the dining room to the living room, back here again.
There we
That's
go.
fine. We like the youngest ones to be here as well. Um, so we are talking about the Kickstart scheme, and the Kickstart scheme, which is an amazing opportunity for all employers to actually um, do their bit to support people that have been whose careers have been stuck because of COVID, from 16 to 24-year-olds, but also to get a boost from it themselves. So where we had the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, this is a kind of hire out to help out opportunity. And I think this is probably much more important than eating out to helping out, whilst that was useful for the catering sector, because there are lots of young people that have whose careers completely stalled because of the COVID pandemic. Um, and the reason I got involved is because I created a brand called the Entrepreneurs Trust a couple of years ago, and that took on all the lessons I've learned as being an entrepreneur over the past 17 years then, and the challenges I faced. And I was working and talking to lots of entrepreneurs and startups. Um, and this landed on our screens, the Kickstart opportunity. And I really wanted to hire one of my former interns who'd worked for me a couple of years ago, um, who had put out on LinkedIn she was looking for a job, uh, but couldn't find anything. So I thought, great, great way to hire a former intern in a graduate kind of work opportunity to help her get into a good job. Um, and I was really quick on this. I've been following it for a few months. I couldn't find anybody to help me make the application, so I literally did it myself. Um, and so I filed an application, and I've got four in play right now. Um, and now there are lots of companies out there that are available to you. So everything I say hopefully should apply to all of those schemes as well. So whilst I, I definitely welcome you to apply through my representative's application, there are many others for you to choose from, and you should work with whoever you feel comfortable with. And I welcome you to, throughout this conversation, ask any questions, use the chat function, raise your hand, or just squawk. I welcome the heckling. It's absolutely fine to do that. I probably won't cover everything that you want to ask me because there is a lot, but equally I might cover too much. So um, the scheme was created by the Chancellor of the Exchequer to, and it is an employment grant. It's 100% free, no need to repay it back. It covers all the costs of hiring a 16 to 24-year-old for 6 months. Now, they also get a £1,500 support payment for you to use it to train and prepare and set up that. And part of that should fund career training. That is an important part of the scheme. The scheme is there to create jobs, but also put them in a better position after the scheme than before. So you are not paying national insurance, you're not paying the auto enrollment, you're literally going to get all your costs covered. So as a small company, you know, lots of us are constantly applying for funding or looking for the next big customer to fund your growth. Now, this is designed to for you to hire people that you would not otherwise hire in any way if you've got the money. And it's not there to replace people that you're paying but no longer can pay. It's also there not for you to cut people who you're paying because you've got an opportunity to take on somebody for free. So the term is non-displacement. So these are genuinely new jobs. So I think the story for startups is actually very accurate because your growth curve is kind of like meant to be like that. It's usually up and down like this. Um, so you might not be able to hire four new employees very quickly. You might not be able to hire that web developer, that Java developer, that product developer, that engineer, the chemical engineer. You may not be able to otherwise hire them. So the story is really clear for smaller companies because this is up to what £6,000 for you to take somebody on, and it's got to be used completely for that. Uh, Whereas you might not be able to do that anyway using the current funds and lack of confidence in the current situation. So it is a superb boost. And there are employers that I've been talking to that are using it to hire jobs that they kind of need anyway, that they were going to hire anyway. And it's just not for that. And they will not be successful. And I kind of I push back on those kind of job applications because I don't want that to come through. Um, and there are lots of companies that might be thinking, a quick buck here. It's not a quick buck scheme because these have to be real jobs. There's monitoring in place. There's training that has to happen. To all the companies that are in my application, I'm providing 6 months worth of continual live, remotely delivered training. They're not, YouTube videos that they have to click and watch. They're live courses that they have to go through that will get them in the better position. Now, why am I qualified to do that? I've hired over 150 people in my 18 years. Most of them have been out of work, apprentices, students, graduates, masters, PhDs, and research fellows. And most of them have gone on to great career success. So I've had loads of experience of taking somebody with no work experience, giving them a challenging job which they enjoy and they thrive in, and to see that as be their first career opportunity into a great career. Um, and I've been providing training and support to startups and entrepreneurs for many years. And I work for the European government, that's EIT, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. I'm a mentor with NatWest Bank Entrepreneurial Hub. I'm also supporting Barclays Eagle Labs. I work with Keele University. I've assisted Aston University entrepreneurial students. I've mentored um, there you are. So
Yeah,
I,
back
I,
again.
I just, yeah, I don't know what happened there. We've had a new mesh router system in there, so it shouldn't happen. But so I've mentored lots of people. I've just been accepted as a mentor with the Back to the High Street Safely Fund through the Creative Quarter in Nottingham. I work with entrepreneurs all over Europe. Um, I'm involved in three startups right now. Uh, so yeah, I'm really busy and I'm really passionate about the startup community. So uh, the application process is fairly straightforward from your side in that you just have to fill in a form. So uh, for me, I do have a form which I can show you by sharing my screen. I'm not doing any slides here, but I'm gonna show you a form questions. So I'm gonna do a share screen. I've had 53 companies join my representative application, and that's actually around 200 jobs. So what I need from you is a bit about your company registration details, um, um, and then a bit of a description. The most important thing is a short description about the jobs that you're hiring, the minimum qualifications and work experience. And this is where you have to be realistic because you are hiring people that are currently unemployed, that are currently on universal credit. They have to be introduced through the universal credit system, the job center, whatever the scheme the government will use to identify applicants. So your applications, your full job spec will actually go on a government job website and they will have to apply through that. So you can't give the job to friends, you can't give the job to people you already know. I mean, you're more than, I think it's more than appropriate for you to tell people you know that are unemployed that a job does exist and they can apply through the government scheme. So you put in your job details and you have to commit to provide career training and work training. And we provide um, the career training. I take half the £1,500 setup costs to provide really high quality career training. As I said, they are live courses. They're provided by me and some subject matter specialists. And that's all I need from you. And it literally takes you about 10 minutes to fill in. So it's straightforward as it could be. Now, the kind of jobs that you might want to hire are, think about the jobs that you wouldn't normally hire for, things that you would do if you didn't have the funds. But somebody has those skills that is, currently unemployed. So I think you might hire lots of, recent university graduates that can't find a job. It's a great opportunity to hire those people that are more than qualified to give you their expertise in a particular subject area. Um, all of the staff that I'm hiring, I'm actually applying as well in my own applications, are going to be remote workers. So you have to be confident that they can work for you remotely. And until we get out of this pandemic, I'm not expecting to see anybody physically. It, as I, Nottingham's going into tier 3, so that's a month. At the best, I can expect to catch up with people maybe a couple of months' time, um, maybe in a cafe somewhere. But the timing of this, it's worth considering how fast this can move. It takes 30 days for the government to actually review an application and come to a decision. Within that time and after that time, they may well not agree, they may reject, they may ask for more information, so there may be a delay. And then you're going to have to put this job specification up on the government website, and then you're going to have to get an application through that process. So that might take another month. So you should give yourself 60 to 90 days from the point when you fill in this application or somebody else's application before you've got somebody working for you at a desk. So this is not a quick fix for anybody. And if any of you, would have liked that to be so, that's unfortunately not the case. So it's going to take a bit of time. So think strategically about the kind of roles that you could hire. And I think startups are ideally placed for this because you're nimble, you can think on your feet, and you can really take on a lot of people. But also be realistic about this. You have to pay the salary up front yourself, and then you claim it back, and it's paid to you after you've paid it. So, do you have the funds in place? Do you have uh, the the governance structure to manage this? Do you have the capability to train somebody in job training? So um, you're going to have to create a quality experience for the new colleague, and that means you know you can hire people that know better than you because it's the subject area. So you might hire a programmer, and if I were to hire a programmer for one of my projects, I know nothing about that stuff, but I need to be there to be able to mentor and support and provide value to that person. So, do you have the capability to do that? Um, and also, they need to be able to do this other career training, so they need to be in a better position afterwards. if you take somebody on for 6 months, after that 6 months, the position ends. You are able to hire them afterwards out of your own income, your own business revenue. They are paid for 25 hours per week as a minimum. If you want to hire them for more, you're able to do so out of your own funds. They are paid the national minimum wage for their age, and you can pay them more if you want to. The scheme will last 12 months, so you may wish to take on another person after this person has ended, and that's available to you as well. So it's a 12-month program. So you may have two people for that role for 12 months, but after the 6 months, that funding will end for that person. So that's kind of my introduction to this. It's really straightforward, it's low risk, and there's no cost to you to apply. So I'm going to welcome any questions. Um, Hannah, what are you thinking? Olga, any questions?
Yeah.
Andy? So far away. Hannah, what you first?
Well, me? Hello.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
cool. So you're saying that so once the 6 months is up, there's then another 25 hours per week that you have to hire them for. And to clarify, is that paid by me, the company, or is that paid by the government?
No, it's almost correct. For 6 months, 25 hours per week, they are paid at the national minimum wage, and then the job ends. If you wish to continue that person, you can hire them of your own free will,
Yeah.
but they are not, you're not obligated to hire them after the 6 months ends. You may wish to take on somebody else through the same scheme
Mm-hmm.
for another 6 months, fully paid at the national minimum wage.
That makes sense. Cool. And do you have to be a limited company to do it?
You don't have to be a limited company to do it, but you've got to be able to put somebody on payroll. You're going to need liability insurance, employer's
Yeah.
liability insurance. So, it's a real job, and it's worth, if you don't have those in place, it's worth getting those in place to be able to safely hire somebody because it's creating a legal responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And you are, whilst everything is covered, the payroll cost, the cost of putting them on your payroll, whether you do it, your accountant do it, that is one cost you're going to have to bear. The employer's liability you're going to have to bear as well.
Can I just ask a question around that actually? First one is when you say that, is the financing from the government just going to cover their wage, or does it also cover things like the employer's contribution to NI?
It does. It covers the
It does
employer's
cover that.
contribution as well as the auto enrollment pension
Okay, sure.
contribution as well.
Those contributions. And then the second one is in terms of the repayment. So you're saying that you have to pay up, you pay the wages, then claim it back. What is the period for that? Is it at the end of the 6 months? Is it at certain intervals?
So what I read today is that it's every month. So after the month, you claim and then you get paid. So
Okay.
government can be quite good. If you've ever won an Innovate UK grant, they usually take about 14 days to
Yeah.
pay. So you've got, but let's say it's a month. So but at the beginning of the scheme, I was told it was 2 months. So it does create a little bit of a cash flow issue. Now, that's what the COVID bounce back loans, you know, could be used for, just to kind of fund some of this working capital. But equally, you might just be able to take an overdraft for that period when you've got to pay out before you get reimbursed. But if you get the grant, you get the money because government pay.
Yeah. It was good to know that from, as you said, a cash flow perspective. So obviously, if you had to pay the whole 6 months, then paid back, that'd be,
Yeah.
very different story.
Yeah. Well, I do know somebody who wants to hire 40 employees. So, I mean, the cash flow burden upon him is around £40,000 a month. So it's not going to be just a small overdraft that he's going to have to consider. And he is a very small company, growing, but very, very small. So if I was looking at that application, I would be really cautious about taking on an application that size. And I've actually toned down quite a number of my applications, um, so they're a bit more balanced and realistic, that they can actually cope with those new hires.
Yeah. So my other question then, so as you said, there's per candidate, is it 1,500, half
Yeah.
of which is you use for training and doing the training obligation that's there.
Hmm.
Is there any limitations in terms of the other 750, which I'm assuming comes then to the company in terms of what they have to
Yeah.
spend on?
No, that's there for you to set up, to prepare. So if you needed a new laptop, you could buy a new laptop. I've got a company is taking on a chef, so they could buy new catering equipment. Um, there may be some other equipment that you need. You know, it might need a new desk. It might pay, if you're paying per month for a desk space, you could use it for the desk space. So whatever you need it to be, that is just paid to you, to your company. So if you don't use it straight away, that's fine. If you don't need it, it's it's given to you for the setup period.
And is that at the start of the scheme that's given?
Yep, it's paid once the employee starts the job. I don't know exactly which day it's paid, but I suspect it'll be in the first month.
Who else has any questions?
I've got a question. So, hi, Asim. I have actually applied for the Kickstart scheme through Birmingham Chamber of Commerce. So they basically said, since I'm looking for 3 employee, they basically patched me up with Staffordshire Chamber of Commerce, and I think they would be, because since I have 3 and they would be adding 27 other. Now, I wanted to know, I mean, in terms of setup costs, how they said that since I'm the company who only is going to employ 3 people and the rest will be done by someone else, do I have to negotiate regarding that with them? Or how does that happen? Because it's simply I just fill out some forms and send it out to them, and they would be doing the rest for me. That's what they said.
Well, I'm very upfront about what the setup costs I take. So
Yeah.
The government allows for that to be negotiated with the representative application lead and the training provider if they are the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you should just simply ask them how much they are taking and what they're going to provide for that.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to, as part of the application, there needs to be career training. So you should just ensure that they are doing that, or if they're not doing that, who's going to do that?
Right, because I mean, I told them already that my training would be done by Aston University, because they've got this project going on. I think HSLM, higher skilled level something, forgot, but yeah. So which is why regarding that, since that would be covered by Aston itself or my employee, I mean, how can I ask them that? I mean, since you're getting a setup cost, what can I get from you? Because that's where since I'm new, I don't know.
Well, the HLSM program is funded by the it's European funding.
Yeah, yeah.
University. And if it covers, is it a career training or is it job training or is it just kind of ongoing work training?
It's basically to train up employee with soft skills and like Microsoft Office, this and that maybe, and also team working, etc. Just basic workshops on that top skill basically.
That sounds more like kind of the part of the technical skills. It's not very technical, I know, but it's more of the job skills needed. And a specific part of the scheme is that they get career training. So it's things like CV, interview. I mean, I'm providing interviewing, networking, how to use social media for career, social media for the employer, conversation skills. We're doing some entrepreneurial workshops. We're going to have peer networking. We're going to provide ongoing monitoring of the employee and employer success. So I think that may be your training could be provided by HSLM, but there still needs to be career training. So very simply, what transferable skills are they going to get so they're in a better position when they leave? So
Absolutely, yeah. That's the main aim.
I think you still need to have that bit covered off, and because they're doing the application, they should be able to provide that when you submit the application. And I've literally done two just before I came on. They have to confirm they are providing career employment training. That puts them in a better position after the scheme has ended. So I think you just go and ask them.
Cool. I'll clarify that with them then. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Daniela, do you have a question? Hi.
Here I am. Basically, well, currently I don't have any questions per se. I'm just trying to just understand about the process and everything, because we have one employee actually coming to the UK in like less than 3 weeks, and so it was really interesting for us to really see if we could actually apply for this scheme. We didn't know about it, so I'm just listening to everything.
Well, that's an interesting point, because everybody who goes through this has to be on universal credit. So that specific person probably will not be fundable, because
would it be? I mean, she is actually coming with an Erasmus scholarship. Would that apply or not?
Well, she's fully funded to you then already. So Erasmus will cover her costs. She gets a notional stipend to live on and cover her accommodation. So no, she won't get funded through this. So if you wanted to hire somebody else with a different skill set, that you could hire somebody who's unemployed. So think of this as a boost. What else could I do who else could I hire? What skills could I use if I had the funding to do so?
Okay.
Olga?
Is there a deadline for this? Is there a deadline for this, or is it a rolling thing? Like, is there a
rolling
day?
Thing.
Yeah.
No, it's a rolling thing for 12 months. I don't currently know whether that means it started on September and it finishes next September, or it's 12 months from when you apply for your first funding. So assume it's 12 months. So within that 12 months, you can apply, and then you get 6 months worth of funding from the point of application. But I would be very cautious about leaving your last application to month 7 of this scheme. So, there's a last orders time. So I think sensibly, if you're going to do this, you should apply for your positions within the first 6 months of the scheme to know that you're going to get, a good 6 months of somebody on the scheme.
When does the scheme start then?
It started, I think it started early September.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
It was like the 2nd of September it was launched.
Any other questions?
Olga, do you have a question for me?
No, thank you. I was just listening to everybody's questions. So yeah, I think I'm okay for now.
Okay, great. Manju? Is Manju there?
I'm not sure.
Javier, any questions?
No. He might just need to unmute. Javier? No,
I'm okay. Okay, great. Well, look, there you go. So,
Olga, have you got any questions or no?
Okay.
What's it other than obviously the form, and what we'll do, because all these guys have obviously signed up for this, we'll send out the link to the form. You sent across a flyer and stuff, which I can share with them. If they've got any other questions, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Just find me on the bottom of that form is my email address. But if you find me on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. and just talk through that. I can't talk via Twitter. I just get lost. Instagram is good.
Oh, sorry. Ah,
Go ahead, Anna.
what's the costs of setting up someone on payroll? How much does that cost?
Oh, I think it's probably a tenner if you do it through your accountant.
Oh, so it's not expensive then. Oh, cool. All right.
No,
Great.
you could do it yourself, but I don't have the accounting software and all that, so my accountant does all my account stuff for me. So it should be no more than that.
Yeah, it's not a huge cost. Awesome.
Yeah,
So
fantastic.
I think if there's no other questions, then we'll leave it there. Asim, thank you
Yeah.
very much for
Dan,
sharing this with us.
You're very welcome. If you could stay on after the call.
Yeah, awesome.
That'd be great.
Everybody, thank you very much.
Oh, sorry. I have one question that just popped up just now. Sorry. So
Sure.
when I was speaking to Asma as well, they were mentioning to me that how we have to, I think, give them some expense for using electricity since they're using from working from home. Is that something we have to be aware of in this part of the scheme?
It's not set in the scheme costs.
Okay.
Doesn't the government provide a tax credit for that? I think they've started. They're covering it themselves. The government are. It's like $150 a week or something.
Yeah, there you go, £6 a month. So there's two ways to look at it for the employee. Hey, they are using their electricity, but if they had to take a bus, train, taxi, drive, they're not going to pay any of that. So you could be kind and offer it, but as Hannah suggested, they could literally claim that back through the tax system.
Right. Okay. That's cool then. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been working
Don't have to
from
worry about
home for about 10 months and I haven't claimed it back yet. Might do a bulk application for £60.
You might as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, might as well.
Great.
Wish you all the very best.
Thanks
If you
again.
need any support from me,